the COVID numbers are going up in Arizona, right? They're not going down. This isn't something that's going away, but businesses are having to reopen. They're telling folks you need to come back. And a lot of people really are concerned to go back to work. So
as Valley companies are calling back their employees to their place of work, those at risk or maybe just nervous about all of this, or maybe preparing for some important or challenging conversations with their boss. Attorney Joshua Black said there are state and federal laws that can protect you if you are concerned about coronavirus. But he says before you were to seek any legal action, it's always important to be really clear about how you are feeling with your managers first so that they may make accommodations for you as an employee. So what are your rights and how do you start some of those conversations when every workplace is handling this so differently? We're checking in this morning for a perspective with Karen Stafford, who is with the Employers Council. And Karen, I imagine that you are getting so many questions about this from both ends, for bosses and employees. And everybody seems to be taking a different approach. So what do you do if you're maybe not ready to return to the place of work, or you're uncomfortable with what your employer is asking of the environment?
Great question, Olivia, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some information here today. When we hear that question, my first question then becomes, tell me more. What is the concern? And so if we get curious, then we get closer to what is holding that employee back. Perhaps they're not aware of all of the workplace protocols that we've put in place with our sanitizer wipes and our sanitizer, and maybe as an employer we're requiring masks and making them available, what our cleaning process and protocol is. And so sometimes just having that conversation with an employee can help them feel more comfortable. If an employee still is not comfortable, I might ask another question as an employer and say, tell me what recommendations, what suggestions, what would help. If I come to find that there's an underlying condition or some other extenuating circumstance, well, then I want to work with that employee one-on-one to understand more about that and see what accommodations can be made, what are required accommodations under the law, or what workplace accommodations we can make. Perhaps I'm able to continue to let you work from home. And if that is, given the nature of your position, is an option. And so it's a time to over-communicate.
It seems like that, I was just going to say that it does seem like a time to over-communicate in both directions, which sometimes can be a little anxiety-inducing, I think, for employee to communicate openly maybe with their managers all the time, especially in a climate when a lot of people have lost their jobs or a lot of people are having their hours or their pay cut. So I guess what are the protections maybe for employees that they should be aware of? Should they feel that they were put in a position that maybe ultimately they get sick, they have COVID-19 and they feel it was exposed at work? Is there recourse, and what are companies going to do about that?
So this is all developing, right? And we're all doing this kind of for the first time. And so if conversation with the employer still leaves you with questions and concerns, there have been some recent laws that may apply. For example, the Family First Coronavirus Response Act does extend some elements of emergency paid sick leave. And if the employer is bound by that law, 500 employees or less, and some other provisions, then an employee can certainly ask about leave provisions with regard to that. If they themselves come ill and are symptomatic, most employers are at least asking for a self-check symptom check before coming into work. I know here at Employers Council, I had to take my temperature this morning and confirm it was within a healthy range before I came into the office. And we're asking that of all employees to ensure that if someone is symptomatic, we don't necessarily want them in the workplace. And so certainly working with your supervisors and communicating. And we're guiding employers to lead with compassion and understanding right now, asking questions as opposed to hard and fast rules.
Yeah, it's a new normal for sure. Karen, thank you so much. I wish we had more time. We will talk again as this all progresses. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll be right back with more Good Morning Arizona.
Thank you.